D&D Beyond now fits in the palm of your hand with the free D&D Beyond app. It's the perfect toolset for beginners, regular players, and seasoned dungeon masters. Play faster with the guided character creator and access your character sheets, spells, and abilities wherever you go. All of your adventures and source books are at your fingertips, even when you're offline. Easily find and access the rules you need when you need them. With more features to come, download the free D&D Beyond app today.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the D&D Beyond Dev Update. I am Mellie Doucette, the Community Manager for D&D Beyond. And hey, if you've never been here before, what we do is we talk about, hey, what is, what's been added recently? What's available soon? What are we planning? And also we answer questions from chat. So if you want to get some questions answered, go ahead and drop those in the chat throughout the show. You're going to preface that with the word question and then follow it with your question. We'll get to as many as possible. You will notice it's just me today. Joe had some other commitments, so he's off doing those things, and I will be taking over the show today. So let's start running through it so that we can get to our amazing guest, which is going to be Pat Backmann of the characters team. I'm super duper excited to talk to him. But hey, what do we have going on here on D&D Beyond? First off, we have so many books. We've got three books. Wild Beyond the Witchlight, which is the Feywild adventure, kind of the first foray into the Feywild officially for 5th edition. We got Strixhaven, A Curriculum of Chaos, which is the Magic the Gathering setting of Strixhaven, which is like this magical school. It's a setting guide. It's got lots of cool options and tips for players and DMs. I'm really excited about that. Fizban's Treasury of Dragons as well, for when you want more dragons in your Dungeons and Dragons. Some of the stuff in this book is going to be so great. I'm very, very excited. So if you're interested in any of those, you can go ahead and pre-order them right now on D&D Beyond. And there's going to be pre-order perks that come with those. Some special dice, digital dice, some special character sheet cosmetics, backdrops, and frames, and theme colors. I will say I've seen some of the frames for some of these, and they are amazing. So definitely worth getting. So you can go ahead and pre-order those right now. And as long as you pre-order before they're released, you will get those extra bonuses. Also, hey, recently, in case you haven't been sort of up to date on what has been new and changed recently on D&D Beyond, save and resume combat. If you are a subscriber, you can use our combat tracker. And if you can use our combat tracker, you may have noticed in the past that, hey, oh no, I accidentally closed this tab and I lost my combat. Why do I keep doing this to myself? Why do I keep closing the wrong tab? Or maybe that's just me. You can now save, resume, and save is automatic. So thank goodness for me, I have not lost a combat since it's been introduced, and I'm very, very thankful for it. We've also introduced the first phase of containers. They specify first phase because there are more phases coming. It's basically like, hey, we want you to start playing with some containers. This is what we've got. So you can go ahead and add those on your character sheet. You can have a backpack. You can rename it to anything you want. What do you call your character backpack? It can be anything. As I say all the time, you can make a pouch and you can rename it Dress with Pockets. Why not? So you can start playing with that right now. There are going to be more stages to containers that are going to come. So get really excited about all of the stuff coming from that. And finally, that we announced a couple weeks ago, rollable hit dice. When you are taking a short rest, instead of having to, exit that little panel and roll dice or grab some physical dice to roll to figure out how much hit points you can recover by spending some hit dice, you can do that right in that little side panel. And that is extremely handy for me because I have a very, very minimal memory available in my brain. So I always forget like immediately after I roll something, and now I don't have to remember. So thank goodness for that. Coming soon, things that are being worked on. We have character sheet decoration management. We kind of showed this off a couple weeks ago. It's going to be that side panel where you can kind of adjust a lot of those decorative items more easily. It's going to just improve that UI. Also, being worked on shared inventory. I got a little bit of a look at some of this recently. I'm very, very excited for what this means, as well as coming soon, subscription management improvements. And what does this mean? It means that, hey, if you've ever been in a situation where you're like, hey, I got this hero tier subscription, but now I'm going to start to run a campaign and I want to share the content that I have, or I want to be able to share the content that somebody else has with the party. So I'm going to upgrade to master tier. You might have noticed that there's not like a one click upgrade or change this button, and so you have to like cancel and redo it, or you have to contact support and get them to help you, which they're always happy to do, let me point out. But we are getting some management options and improvements. I got to look at these recently. I'm so excited. I'm in the community, being the community manager. I've also been on the social media side doing replies there. I've helped with support, so I know that this is something that a lot of people could really get use out of, and I'm very, very excited for that to be coming. So get excited about that. And just overall, as we say every single time, our 2021 goals, our character sheet backlog that's supporting, rules that we haven't been able to support yet. That need kind of special development in order to support. So in books that already exist, our feature system, which is the feature system of many names, and that is the thing that is going to help us develop more easily in the future and help us support that backlog. And of course, the continued integration of our shared play space, making D&D Beyond even easier and more easy to integrate into kind of every aspect of the game. So that's all the things that are happening, that are on the way, that are being worked on. If you've got questions about that stuff, go ahead, drop it in the chat. Once again, preface it with the word question. And I'm sorry if I talk too fast, but I was really, really excited to get to our incredible guest. So let's go ahead and bring on Pat Backmann of our characters team. Hello, Pat. Welcome back to the show. Can you, for people that have no idea who you are, they're tuning in for the first time, perhaps. Who are you? What do you do with D&D Beyond?
Yeah, I'm Pat Backmann. I'm the senior product manager for the characters team. So we do all things with the character sheet, the character builder, and the Avre Discord bot. And then I saw a question in there about Twitch already. So maybe if we get to that, that does fall within our realm of influence. But yeah, that's what I do. I'm not an engineer. I'm I am more like the voice of the people, if you will, on the team's level. So when the team's like, hey, is this going to work for us? Do you think customers will like this? And then I look at all of the research I've done and all of the input that you've given me and feedback, and then say yes or no, or we pivot and adjust and try to make the best thing we can for you all.
Absolutely. And speaking of the fact that you are sort of a voice of the community within your team, I mean, if we're kind of planning to be a little bit more present in the community coming up pretty soon, and I believe you're going to be a part of this, we're going to Gen Con. Is that correct, Pat?
That is correct. I just wanted for a moment to say, no, that's not correct, even though I didn't tell you that.
And you'd be like, oh, no, but you told me.
Yeah. No, yeah, we're going to Gen Con, and we're bringing quite a large team with us. Now, we're not going to have a exhibit or booth per se, other than the character creation station to assist Baldman Games for all of the D&D games that they'll be running. But just because that's the only thing that's like visually that we're doing, there's going to be a lot of team members doing other stuff. So we have like these spreadsheets of all the people we need to talk to while we're there. So we're taking some engineers, we're taking some product folks, myself included, and we're taking a couple of designers, and then of course marketing, and then some of the bosses are going to be there, but they're going to be there for pleasure, not work. So they've already like bought their tickets, but we're going to rope them in to do some work, and we're going to meet some of our industry partners and do some collaboration and talk about what's the next best thing, because this whole digital RPG space, 5 years ago it just kind of was meh, but now it's just really blowing up, and there's some really exciting stuff that people are doing out there. I can't wait to meet those people for real.
And if there are community members that are at Gen Con that are like, I love D&D, but if there's not an exhibit, like, how can I, see you and tell you that you're the best?
Yeah. I already got the box taped up, and I don't have my shirt with me, but we'll be wearing D&D Beyond hoodies and T-shirts, so it'll be very obvious. Well, I think Jared's going to be wearing a kilt, but I think you can do a kilt count when you go to these cons, and usually you get up into the hundreds, so I don't know if he'll be that identifiable. But yeah, we'll be wearing our D&D Beyond T-shirts.
Sorry, but is it a branded kilt? Like, is it just like all of the stripes on it, or actually just like D&D Beyond written and making the lines?
No, I think it's his official family tartan. But okay. Boy, I want a D&D Beyond.
Now we need a D&D Beyond official family tartan. Clearly.
Yeah, right. That's right. We need to do that. Yeah. So if you see us walking around, make sure you hit us up and stuff like that, because we want to say hi. We want to get feedback from you. We want to talk to you. It's great talking to customers live. I've only been talking to you over Zoom for the past year and a half, and it kind of sucks, and I'm really excited. So I'll probably look like this, because I think that's going to be the Gen Con standard. But
yes,
the beard will be sticking out, and I'll be wearing a D&D Beyond shirt. So you should be able to recognize my eyes through the glasses, and then just run up and say, "Hey, Pat, what's up?" We're going to bring some, we're going to try to bring some digital codes with us, like a big bunch of sticker codes, and then we'll just stick them on our business cards and be able to hand some of those things out for some like swag, like digital swag.
Yeah,
it's having some digital dice or getting a book or something like that's a lot digitally is a lot cooler than getting us like a squeeze ball or a fidget spinner, right? So
yeah, like here's a thing you use, because hey, you're a D&D Beyond fan. Here, take this, go and redeem it and see what you got. I think it'll be pretty fun.
Right. Right.
So I'm super pumped about that. So hey, if you're going to Gen Con, keep an eye out for those D&D Beyond shirts. And of course, also if you're going to Gen Con, please remember to stay safe. Remember, wear your mask, and just wash and sanitize your hands all the time. It's a convention, and even before COVID, conventions, we're that place where after you're done a convention, you got con crud. Let's not have con crud. Let's avoid that. So everybody just be super careful and considerate. And I'm really excited for all of you. Unfortunately, I'm in Canada, so I will not get to go, but I'm going to be watching from far away and very excited. And I will be there on the Discord for all of my other folks that aren't going to Gen Con, and we can hang out together and have a great time over there. So, come and join me over there. We have some questions from the chat. Should we start to answer some questions?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Excellent. Alrighty, let's see. So we got from Man of Eros 78. Is it planned, or is it, it being considered in any way to be able to customize your known or prepared spells on the character sheet? Like, hey, if the DM says, "Hey, you get another prepared spell because of this quest that you just finished," or "Oh, you're cursed, you're gonna actually lose some spells," or they maybe just have special rules in their campaign. Is this something that's sort of at mind for your team?
Yeah, it is. So we do have an extensive backlog, but you all know that. And it's what's the most important thing that bothers people the most that we do first, basically. So what? What's his name here? Man of Eros,
I believe.
Man of Eros. 78 is saying here is a big concern, and I literally have it as one of my big folders on my product board, which is the thing I look at all the time. That's what I rack and stack all of the stuff on. And it's not just that, it's the ability to use spell points. It's the ability to put a spell on my character that is not of my class at will. It's the ability to take a spell and demote it to a cantrip. It's, all of those things we're calling, because this is what we do, we call things stuff, the new spell system. So yeah, we're working on building up all of what we call, we call them user stories. I'm not a fan of the word user, because when you think about it, drug dealers and digital consumers.
Let's like
Those
we
are the
call it
people that-
adventurer stories, adventurer
yeah,
epics.
adventure stories, customer stories, something other than user.
Yeah.
But so I build out all of these stories out, and this is one of those stories, right? And it's like, as a customer, I want to be able to customize my known prepared spells on my character sheet so that it's easier for me while in game to do X, Y, Z, right? So then then once I have that user story, we'll push that to our eventually we'll push it to our feedback loop portal, and then you all jump on it and add to it, and then that gets reduced down or boiled down like good old fashioned maple syrup, and turns into something sweet and awesome, and then we work on it.
Nice. I really like that. I mean, I'm the kind of DM that I just change things on the fly, and I like to give weird kinds of bonuses and curses and all of that. So that's all really,
Yeah.
really exciting for me. And this kind of ties into that from Zelly Belly. On the feature system, we've talked in the past about how this feature system is going to let us be able to support things like boons from the Dungeon Master's Guide. Is it planned for, hey, if I wanted to create my own boon that is not, from the book, is that something that is planned to be supported?
By the way, Zelly Belly, love the name. And
It's
yes, it's going to be initially. Boons are going to be one of the first things out the door because they're relatively simple. It's just usually a simple mathematical equation that gets associated with the description. And so when we build out the universal feature system or the generic feature system or the generic, which is now called by Faith, who you probably all met, the generic universal feature system, aka GOOP.
The feature system of many names.
Yeah, so when we build that out, one of the things we're going to need to do is it has to have a name, and it's going to have an ID, and it's going to have some text that's associated with it to describe its thing, and then it's going to have an effect that is efficacious on the character sheet. So name, X boon, description, it has an ID to make sure that you actually can have it, and then it has this like mathematical equation. Because boons are so much in that format, they'll be one of the first things out the door. The things that'll be a little weirder or harder are going to be curses, because we're taking things away, right? That's weird.
Yeah.
We don't normally take things away. Contracts, because not only do you have this cool like text that's written on a half dead body and it's scratched into its skin, but then you have like what happens if you breach the contract, or what happens if the contract isn't met or something like that. So yeah, those will be the harder ones.
Yeah, so it is that similar story of like, we got a skateboard. The boons are the skateboard. Okay, now we're gonna work our way up to that Ferrari.
Right.
It's piece by piece, and it's the same idea with that inventory management of like, we know that this isn't finished, but you can use it as a skateboard right now. You can do a lot with it. But we do have some questions for people asking about that. So let's do a couple of inventory management questions. Thaylorn Grimm wants to know, hey, the next thing we've been talking about is shared inventory. Hey, currently a vehicle container's weight is added to a character's encumbrance. What's kind of the story about how that's all going?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked this question because I really wanted to answer it. So we have containers. That's just the beginning. And then you have the buttons to be able to add things and take things away. And right now we're working on making a container something like we actually use it in our work game because it's ours, right? So we've turned it on for ourselves. It's still a little wonky, but I can take an item like my coffee cup and I can put it on my character sheet under the shared portion of my inventory. And then for you, Mellie, on your character sheet, if we're in the same campaign, now all of a sudden coffee cup appears there once you've refreshed, right? And then if you grab the coffee cup, then all of a sudden you get a whole bunch of extra containers and a bunch of crazy stuff happens to your character sheet and it's really bad. But we're gonna sand that down and get it so it's right. But then you'll be able to take the coffee cup off and put it into your inventory. So that's what we're really working on right now. That's the big promise and the big ask from the community, so that you can have the bag of holding shared inventory space where everybody puts their things and then everybody can go in and take the things up. The next thing we're going to do is weight. What they're talking about right here is, what is the thing that's the container? What is the capacity? And if the capacity is on the character, i.e. a backpack, it has weight. If it's a cart, then the character is not carrying the cart. It doesn't have weight, but the cart is weighted. Or if it's a magical item like a bag of holding, that if I'm not mistaken, the weight is 15 pounds. And doesn't matter how much stuff you put it in, it's always 15 pounds.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then right after that is, if somebody has that question, is currency. So I can put a little bit in this one, a little bit in that one, a little bit in that one. Kind of like so. And you can really do it now if you wanted to. You could custom item. I want to put one custom item, one piece of gold in my boot, or one iron, like Kavoth, right? He put one iron coin in his boot, so when he got mugged on the streets, that he always had that one iron coin.
Yeah.
You could do that with a custom item by typing it, but it's not currency on your character sheet. But we're going to do it so that you can have your currency all divvied up, and then you'll have a grand total, right?
This is very exciting for me. As I've said before, I like just organizing things and being like, okay, where would my character actually put this? So being able to do that more, it really just, I know that it's not, the biggest feature for a lot of people, but for me, this is like, oh my gosh, this is the thing for me that is my favorite.
It's one of my favorite things too, and then the last thing I just wanted to say is, then the last thing we're going to work on is getting that custom items, those custom items to get them into the containers. So you can literally put anything in there. You can say, I want to write a pen. I got a postcard. I got some dice. I got a phone, highlighter, whatever. And I can put it anywhere in a container and give it a weight value and all that stuff. But what the exciting thing for me is, I always had a notion of running a campaign as a DM, or playing in a campaign as a character, where logistics mattered, and you can run out of food, or you can run out of bug spray, and then it becomes problematic, right? And you can only carry so much bug spray, and you can only carry so much food. Yeah, you can have a cart full of off with DEET in it, and you're good to go through Cholt. But you're not getting that cart through the jungle. You have to put some of the bug juice in some gourds and carry them, and they're heavy. And then you run out, and you're stuck in the jungle with no bug juice. That's bad in Cholt, right? So, and this will allow us to play those games better and easier.
Yeah, whenever there's rules specific, and Tomb of Annihilation is a great example of that, where resources are intended to matter, but it's so difficult to do that. Like paper sheets, difficult to do that. Even D&D Beyond, which it makes it a little bit easier because you can like kind of organize and move things pretty easily. Like it is still like an extra step. So I love the idea of making this easier. I'm running an Avernus campaign, and when you get to Avernus, there are things that you need to be aware of and keep track of that I think it's going to be just a delight when we get to there. So I am so excited. So let's see what else we've got here. We have some people asking, where did I see it? And this kind of ties into things. Kind of ties to containers, but also ties to, something, we refer to internally as like temporary effects, which is from Zemus. So quivers, which do count as a container. Let me just answer that for you. But if you have ammunition in there, and let's say you would attack with your bow, and is there a way to have that like, we can just immediately remove that from your container? Or also can, if there's an arrow with an attack bonus on it, and we say we're going to use that with our bow, how can those things add on and just kind of make playing an archer, again, having those resources that matter and kind of pulling those in. Is that something that's sort of in mind for your team?
Yeah, that's going to fall under the bardic inspiration problem, or the mage armor problem.
Yes.
And it's really a question of how much automation people really want, or what people really need. One of the problems with bardic inspiration is everybody always forgets they have it, unless somebody literally gives them a big fat coin and put it on the desk in front of their character sheet that says bardic inspiration on it, which you can go to the game stores and buy those things. Or they forget that their I don't know, their character was blinded and they actually can't do that action. But when you get into specificity like this, where if I roll an attack roll with my bow, and then I want to use my +1 silver tipped arrows to do that, will it count down, and will it apply the +1 to the damage when I actually make the shot? That works. It's great and wonderful, or you could do that. It's great and wonderful. But how many people are going to press the attack roll and now it's all gone? The arrow disappeared, and then they're like, should I? So now you have to ask questions. You have to have what we call in the industry friction. Hey, I want to make this attack. What arrows do you want to use? I want to use my +1 silver arrows. Okay, and attack now. Yes. Your arrow will be reduced from your inventory. Yes, right? And that's where you get now. Is that too annoying, right? And then you get people who will say, stop making me click so many times just to shoot an arrow. And on the other side of it, you're going to get people to say, I clicked and now I don't know how many arrows I had because I think I clicked too many times, and it's very confusing. So it's a balance, and it's our job to figure out that balance. But this is a great insight here. So I'll scoot that off of the stream chat and stick it into our insight thing.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I've seen the second sentence before, right? I've seen the first one. I want to be able to deplenish, but have the attack bonus modifier on a chosen piece of ammunition. I don't know if I've seen that one before. And if I haven't, if I have seen it before, it still needs to be plussed up, because it's a really, really good idea. Because people forget.
Yeah, I know with my with my character that's an archer, is like I took, hey, I've got this bow, and I added like 3 versions of it, and I was like bow, and then like arrows, bow, and then like radiant arrows, and then bow, and like silver tipped arrows, and then I could just like modify it. And it's not glamorous, but I will say, if there's anybody who's like, hey, right, I want this like immediately, I want to be able to do this right now, there's an idea for you. You can just set the weight of those extra bows to 0 and play around with it that way. That's my hacker tip.
But that's the cool one. One of the cool things about the character sheet is that we do have those workarounds, like literally. Yeah. So I don't know if you've all met Jason. He's my engineering counterpart on the team. But Jason made this matrix that talks about how important the thing is, right? It's like a risk matrix for importance of feedback. And like you said, hey, I have this thing that I should be able to do. Is there a workaround? If there's a workaround, it gets downgraded just ever so slightly. If there's no workaround, it stays in that column of, man, this really is broke. That's one of the things that's neat about our character sheet, is that there are so many ways to work around, but sometimes it's annoying. You don't want to have 4 bows on your attack column. You know what I mean? Because then you keep forgetting that you have a dagger down here that you like to throw every once in a while, but 4 bows in the way. So
totally. I love it. Let's see if there's another. I mean, we do have other people asking similar questions about, hey, a temporary effect system, barbarian rage, mage armor, but I think that's all sort of covered in what we discussed there. Let's see. So we also have, hey, people are asking a little bit of it. Hey, Pat, is there a way for people to find information about Gen Con online and about our presence there? Do you know if we have something like that? That's from Fennec 2020.
Okay, so yes, you can find out information. There is a Gen Con, I think it's just gencon.com, where they do the whole event on. And then there's an online event that's happening. But as far as our presence goes, you're not going to, and when I say our presence, I'm not talking about fandom. I'm talking about D&D Beyond, because there's a different thing that's happening with the other side of the company. So you go on there and you won't see any D&D Beyond presence whatsoever. You might see something in Baldman Games that says D&D Beyond supporting with the character creation station. But for us, it's in person. You'll see us walking around.
Totally. And I think that you'll be able to see, as we get closer to Gen Con, we will probably talk about that on our social media. So you can keep an eye out there. We'll kind of post, hey, keep an eye out for us. We also have our social media strategist, Avery Frenier, who I love very, very much, is going to be there and is going to be, taking pictures and just kind of being on the ground. So definitely you'll be able to sort of tweet at D&D Beyond I can't find anybody with a D&D Beyond t-shirt, and you can get some hot tips about how to find those people. Let's have one more question, because I know that we have an answer to this one, and let's help this person. Feats and Follies is asking, hey, can we roll with advantage and disadvantage on the website? On the app, you can long press and then choose advantage or disadvantage. Is there a way to do that on the character sheet, Pat?
Yeah, sure there is. I don't have a way to share my screen, but there sure is. I think it's just a right click, and then you get the ability. You get a little window, like that friction window. What do you want to do? And then you click advantage or disadvantage, or hide. I think you can hide your roll too, that you just roll it to see it yourself, or you share the roll. So you have all those options with a right click on the dice expression on the character sheet.
Yeah, so just right click, you'll be able to advantage or disadvantage. And, if you have decided already, I want to only share my roll with the DM, but this one roll I actually want to share with everybody, even if it's not advantage or disadvantage, that right click is how you just change something for just one roll. If you want to change your preferences for the entire, sheet, what's by default, you just go to the game log and you can do that. I've seen some people say, why do I have to right click every time to choose where my roll goes? You don't, I promise. Just head over to the game log. And then if you want to get advantage or disadvantage just one time, or you want to change where your roll gets sent, that right click is going to be your friend. So the world has just opened up for you, Feats and Follies. And thank you so much, Pat, for coming on the show. Is there anything else you'd like to share with the people before we go?
Nope. Maybe one thing. We're fixing a lot of bugs, so you'll see some stuff out like that coming. It's not going to be big announcements. It's just going to be okay, now I can name my character in the builder, and it actually happens when I finished building. So smaller things like that. Some hit die rolling bugs and feedback. Still some dark mode bugs or underdark mode bugs, because that's a thing. And then the Witchlight support. That's what we're working on this week, making sure that Witchlight has as much value as we can give it to you when it goes out live. That's all.
Yeah, I'm super duper excited about Witchlight. There's some really cool stuff in there, so people should get excited. And you can pre-order that again here on D&D Beyond. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, Pat, for joining me. This has been a delight. We are going to be back later today. Amy Dallen is going to be talking to Sage Ryan about druids and the best magic items you could possibly pick for your druid character. So join us for that. That's going to be at 12 p.m. PT. Super excited for that. And otherwise, we will see you at the Dev Update again next week. Thank you all. Have a great one.
It's D&D.